mentioned at the beginning, whenever we talk about data and partner performance data, the conversation quickly turns to metrics and KPIs, right? And every business will have different views, different objectives, different success metrics. And those will probably be quite different depending on the types of partners that they work with. And the reality is, for many companies, you work with multiple types of partners. So the first question for the panel, and I think, Don, we will start with you, and of course, John and Kenneth, if you want to jump in after Don. So Don, thinking about your business, could you share your thoughts in terms of what kind of metrics you see as essential to measuring success with your partners? And then, of course, the second part to that question would be, do you see those metrics having to be tailored significantly to different types of partners?
Yeah, Margaret, it's a good question, right? And I think John, it tickled something for me in his introduction, right? The wealth of data that we have access to right now is pretty amazing, right? And it can be overwhelming too for channel leaders and also the partners themselves as you figure out how you deliver and develop this in the right way. And so, with that, I guess, challenge and craziness we all deal with. I get the high level thing here. Let's call it what it is we're here to drive sales, right? And that's the key thing we want to be able to use as our pillar. And so when we look at those metrics and working with our partners, it's how do we, for where they're at in their journey with us, with the different roles in which they have, develop the right consistency of metrics that allows them to achieve those goals in the right way, right? And make it easy for them to be able to, when working with us, understand what success looks like, understand where we're going as an organization, how does that tie into their incentives, how does that tie into the investments we're making to grow their business, right? So it needs to wrap around the super goal around how do we grow the business and drive success, and for them do that in a profitable way. So we need to be able to show that. And then the rest of the foundation we really look at when we work with our partners is how do we help them build the right practice, and what are those core metrics of building that practice. And it does differ slightly in if they're going to be a managed service provider, what are the elements that we need to be able to, and we've seen successful from working with other partners that we can bring to them that then aligns them to that key performance, or if they're reselling, or maybe they're one of our global system integrators and bringing this into a greater offering, right? So how do they build that right practice? How do we then help them, once they've established that, grow and take advantage of developing a market and finding new opportunities and looking at performance metrics? We look at ROI and where we've had success in the past with other partners, and bringing that intelligence to our partners so that they can not have to do everything themselves for the first time, right? They're going to learn from our community and leverage some of our KPIs and our dashboards to do that. And then the last piece that's extremely important is the performance side of things, right? How are they performing against the objectives that we've set either in our business plans together, in their partner level in terms of our investments, or in terms of just pure profitability and understanding and having a single spot where they can go and receive that, right? In a lot of cases, when they're working with us, and before we had some of these tools that were disparate in different areas, it was a challenge, right, for them to have a good, strong handle around what success looked like, and us all be centered around that. And so being able to define those right metrics in those areas, being able to have something simple for us to take a step back and say what's working, what's not, has been really key to us accelerating. As we've been accelerating as a business, we're able to really use these KPIs, in these areas that, again, it's going to differ in your different business, right? If it's your software organization, you're looking at your MMR or ARR, it's going to maybe be slightly different. But again, providing that single path for partners is key, and we've seen a lot of success through that.
Right, okay, so much to unpack in that, and there's a lot I want to dig into, but before we do, I want to give an opportunity to John or Kenneth if they want to tap into anything from that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Don, and the amount of data is just overwhelming, as you said. I think there is one thing I'll add though, and that's, I'm glad Don broke the seal here so I don't feel dirty saying this, but we're all in sales. Partners are too. This may be a shock to everyone, but they want to make money as well, right? So I think what we need to do is understand that probably 98%, certainly all the organizations I know and have worked for, the primary focus and purpose of a partner community and a channel is to drive that force multiplier that people talk about. So top of the funnel is your first metric, right? Alignment to your sales organization, your marketing strategy, ABM, alignment to your corporate culture is great, but partners are there to provide force multiplier. They're there to fill the top of the funnel. And then the great thing about having partner dashboards is you can start to trickle down. I won't take too much time here. What's the win rate like? How good are the opportunities they're finding? So start at the very top. That's my advice.
Yep. Yeah, and Margaret, not a huge amount to add. The guys have done a great job on covering that, but just maybe I'll spend a minute just dig into some of the metrics. I'm sure the audience are interested in, you know, what are those KPIs? So when you're doing this, and Don did cover, you know, they vary maybe by partner type. So, you know, what are the metrics or key indicators that you want to record and present on the dashboard? So obviously things like revenue, John just covered pipeline there at the top, and how do you trickle that down? But I'll try a few other examples. You know, if we move into the world of SaaS, renewals becomes very important. So measuring renewal rates, and even then getting more granular and measuring adoption rates. So, you know, again, in SaaS, which a lot of vendors and cloud vendors are trying to transition to ultimately, when somebody buys 300 users or seats or licenses or whatever the different vendors call it, that's great. You sell that to a partner, to an end customer, but you now need to start measuring, because it's a different pricing model, the price point is lower than the traditional. It's really important that you measure how much of those have been activated, that you don't fall into a downsell scenario in a year's time. That's just kind of one good example. You know, training or compliance is another one. We talk about enabling partners because, as John so well put it, you know, it is all about sales. Everybody is trying to make their business successful, partners, the vendors, etc. So you do need to start to enable, because when you start to look at the overall partner ecosystem, it's very obvious that the partners that have the most training in your products or your offerings are the partners that sell the most. That correlation is consistently there. And I can talk about, you know, across 300 or 400 vendors that we work with, you always see that exact correlation. So it's really important that you measure that, because that feeds directly into successfully closing business and winning more business. And then a couple of other things is, you know, it's becoming more and more prevalent that when you start to work with partners, you want to see how much of that new business that partner brings is actually partner sourced business versus something you're giving to them to do as well. So I see a lot of vendors are now putting a lot of emphasis on measuring partner sourced versus vendor led, and even paying more on that partner source business to the partners, giving them extra percentage on that to do it. And then the last piece, I suppose, is what level of incentivization are you giving the partners? So be that rebates, be it spiffs, be it MDF, etc., what discounts, is literally measuring that, because the cost of doing business with partners or from a partner's perspective, sorry, I should say, sometimes it's lost on the partner. They get their upfront discount, but by using a dashboard to show them the total benefit of doing business with you as a vendor is really important to show them that, because very quickly they forget they're getting a back-end rebate, or they're getting MDF dollars, or their team are getting spiffs, etc. So think about it, when a partner gets an end customer deal, they will shop around, you know, whether we like it or not, they will work with multiple vendors and they'll shop around. But by showing them the total value of doing that deal with you as a vendor, that does create competitive advantage. And we've seen this with, you know, many large vendors where partners didn't fully realize the value of bringing that deal to a vendor. You can now serve that up through a partner performance dashboard, and it does create competitive advantage for you, and ultimately helps you win that partner's end business, which, you know, as John so well put it, that's what it's ultimately all about. Sorry, well, a lot there, Margaret, but just wanted to chime in.
Real quick on this too, right? I mean, partners don't have that intelligence at their fingertips, right? They've got their tools are in a lot of cases, focused on, they can see their upfront margin, right? They can see the profitability on the deal. But then as you tie those other elements into it and look at it from totality of their practice, it's not simple for them to do. And so you being able to walk into a partner organization and have something simple that says, this is the profitability your Juniper practice has brought you in this certain period of time is huge differentiation and powerful, and it can change that conversation very, very quick with those leaders and executives in that organization.
And I guess conversely, it also helps you to have that conversation internally, right? Where you've got the conversation, well, we're investing so much in our channel, how much are they actually doing for us? Well, actually, guys, here's the result, here's the impact. And so it gives you, the what's in it for me argument on both sides of the coin, I guess.
That's absolutely right, Margaret. And it's often the case, even when very successful channel companies, somebody in finance will still ask, what's the channel doing for us? Even though it's so obvious, that question will inevitably come up. Why are we giving away? Somebody will come in that might not be that channel knowledgeable, and the first question be, why the hell are we giving these partners all this discount? But that's probably not go there today. So
it's a reality, I think, facing all of us. So that's great. Does accurate partner performance data help? And what are kind of some of the benefits? And does it help to drive that less of an administrative focus and more of a sales and business development focus in those account managers?